We are live. Hey, everyone. RT Bear here, coming to you live from Hack Studios. And we're going to do a Hacks chat. We haven't done one of these in a while, a big, long while. But I'm back. The book, Black and White, Man vs. Machine Volume 2 is done and still in demand. So if you guys want to pick up a book, feel free. And we are in full fulfillment mode. So books are going out today, and Pamela, my wife, who does the fulfillment, she's at the post office right now. Actually, I'm mailing out a big old stack of black and white orders. So you guys have those to look forward to. And please let me know when you get those, your copies, and take pictures of them, share them on your social media. Let's get this frenzy going because we're going to be closing out next month. So I want to let people know that we are in fulfillment and that people are getting their books. And it usually helps with the closing. So we're gonna try to get a big closing going on there for Black and White. So that's that. I got some pictures I'll share maybe later. But the main reason we're here is because of my buddy Russ Leach, and he's got a new book, Fund My Comics. It's called Shadow Kingdom, and he's going to be. You talk about a mother of all characters. He's working on Conan. It's a Conan story, you guys. So cool adaptation from the Robert E. Howard novels, and he's going to be sharing the process. Why fund my comic versus Indiegogo or Kickstarter? And just basically catching up. Russ helped me out with a lot of the black and white stuff. So I was giving him layouts and he was giving me breakdowns, and they were fantastic. So the guy is top-notch talent. I only work with the best. So, the book is going to look good, and we'll show the campaign as well. But I want to say hi to everybody. We got Pedro Ang. What's up, brother? So speaking of another artist I'm working with on the Black and White campaign, Pedro did the High Octane Animated Adventures with Von Klaus. So that thing printed up really, really well, Pedro. We're going to be mailing some stuff out to you soon so you can see the actual book. Yeah, and art lives. I am alive, baby. Kickstarter, Leg Kick 1. Hello. Sorry, you're not Kickstarter. The Nordic Nerd. What's up, man? Oh, man, it's not a party until Past Master Dan steps in. Shared. Hell chat. Yeah, you guys, please share this out and give a thumbs up. What? Bring on the monkey? No, there's no monkeys. No monkeys. Edwin the Ace, Volume 3, coming soon. So this is Edwin. And always promote. And Edwin is the master of it. So what's up, man? So the Ace Volume 3 is coming out very, very soon, you guys. We got Hey Joe, Hojo. Morning all. Yeah, it is morning. I feel like my wife's got a cold, and all of a sudden, like sometimes you don't realize that you don't feel well until you try to do stuff you normally do, and then you feel kind of slow and kind of sluggish. It's kind of how I feel right now. Sluggish. All right. Well, I'm sure once I get this guy in here, the energy's going to resume. We're gonna be willing and dealing. We're gonna be doing some song and dance for you guys, some soft shoe. This guy is a master at the tap dance. Now he's a really good artist. I'm so glad I met him. Comicsgate is the best because we meet all kinds of people that we wouldn't normally, and I got the privilege of working with this guy. So I offered him to do. It's kind of a thankless job actually to do breakdowns. And breakdowns are loose pencils, sometimes off of people's layouts, but more often than not, just right off the plot. And the man hit a home run for Black and White. So he is the unsung hero of that book. And he's got a new book called Shadow Kingdom. And let's get him in here, and he can tell us all about it. So what's up, man?
Hello. What an introduction. Thank you very much.
No, it's all true, man. I mean, when I was getting some of that stuff back, I was like, holy shit, especially the tech stuff, like the robot. like the big mech suit.
Yeah.
Is JC in the mech suit? If you guys don't know black and white, there's a big like there's these mechs. They're not. Yeah, I guess it's a suit, although it's not really like a form-fitting suit. It's kind of like a guy inside of a robot kind of mech. And man, from all different angles and stuff like that, that's really tough. And with as little as I gave you to work off of, I thought you did
Oh,
a fantastic job.
it was great to work with you. I was at as I talked to other people about the process of working in collaboration, and that we've lost some of that from like the studios of old, where people used to get mentorship and what have you. So to come in and work with you, that was fantastic. That was really good. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Thoroughly
no
enjoyed
problem.
it, and to be part of such a brilliant set of books. Yeah, really, really cool. So
No, like I said, I mean, you really help move the process along quicker, um, and for that, I'll be forever thankful. So I do
one of
appreciate it.
my things I like to think of is speed. Although I've taken my sweet time on this present project. So just a small correction: it isn't Conan, it is Cull. But
Oh, it's Cole.
but
I'm
it's
sorry.
but it's okay. It's easy to confuse the two because Cull was the prototype of Conan, and Conan is a bit more pulpy, a bit more savage and unthinking, whereas Cull's got some thought behind what he does. But Robert E. Howard is a master. There's no doubt about that, and he's produced some fantastic stuff, and that's why we got into it. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite things is depending on the mood of Conan when I read the novels when I was a kid
Mm.
was he could help you or he could hurt you.
That's it. Yeah, it's a nice balance.
That's usually how it worked, man.
Yeah.
And I really like that because he was a pretty self-serving guy,
Mm.
but he did have a heart, and if you could get through to that guy, yeah, he'd step up for you. So I always like that, and I always like just the wandering kind of adventurer kind of
Yeah.
like template. Just going from town to town, just kind
Mm.
of moving around and just getting into these adventures. And
Yeah. Well, that's
yeah,
that's where we want to go with Cull. The Shadow Kingdom is the first, so, according to many sources, it's the first sword and sorcery book. It's the thing that started it all off. Um, and it's about effectively Cull, who is an Atlantean coming to the throne in Alesia, and finding that the Shadow Kingdom is this bunch of lizards, which shape changing lizards, which are behind the throne. And so that's what the book is about, and it takes you to where it takes you. I won't give the end away, but it's faithful to the book. To anybody who's read any Robert E. Howard, who has an amazing handle on prose, is just his words are beautiful, and we've kept that in as much as possible. And then at the end of the book, the idea is that we do move on into some kind of road trip with him and Brawl, who is his sidekick, very trusted warrior he works with, and move into some other books next year, which we're going to be calling the Atlantean. So much like the Sumerian that Blaze did with Conan over in Europe, we want to do a similar thing with Cull and kind of have a road trip. And it'll be like those old, I don't know, like things like Logan's Run or Planet of the Apes, the series on the TV, where you've got this kind of overarching story, but each week you get a little self-contained story, and we'd like to
right.
do that with the Cull character with
And
Brawl
you
and
and
go
you
on
can't
this.
do that with Cole. I
It's
mean,
in
he's a
public domain.
character that's
Yeah,
and he's ideal for that.
yeah,
What else? There was Conan, Red Sonja, and there was Solomon Kane. What
that's
else
right.
was in the library of
Um,
Howard?
uh, is it Bran Mac? I never can remember his name. There was another one that was in the lineage of Conan and Cole because they're supposed to be related. There was also he did the Lair of the Worm. Um, there were like pirates. There's pirate stuff. There's a whole bunch of boxing stuff as well. I think he just wrote about so many different things. He was in so many different genres, but what they had all about them, everything they had about them was that they were adventure. It was like it was fun, adventurous stuff.
Did
And
he
he
did
could
he
just
meet
write
a
us all along.
tragic end? I'm trying to think. Like,
I
did
think he
he
did.
off himself?
I
Yeah.
think he might have done. Yeah.
He didn't seem like a troubled person per se, but because I remember there was a time, Russ, I was I was like not the superhero guy, right? Like
Mm.
when I was a kid, when I was a young guy, up till maybe middle school, high school, I was a superhero guy, right?
Right.
But then after that, I just stopped, and there was cars, girls, rock and roll, right? So I kind of stopped reading comics. And then what got me back is like the Savage Sword stuff, like the adventure stuff. And oh, you got one there? Oh yeah, baby.
I got
Yeah.
a whole collection of Savage sort of Conan stuff.
You know what? I had all of those. And I don't know, when you were a single guy, I would like stay I was like Conan or like Cole. I would like just stay someplace for a while, then I would move. So if I got a year out of an apartment, that was a big deal. And so every time I would move, I would downsize, right? So what ends up usually is, because books are like heavy and they're a pain in the ass to move. And so I would give stuff away. And I remember I gave my entire Savage Sword, like magazine size books, away to a friend of mine. And I hope he still has them, and I hope he still enjoys them. But yeah, I gave them all. God, it was a big stack.
Yeah.
And I was never like that precious about my books. They're kind of like
Right.
yours. They're just like free in my apartment. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like they were all
reading.
around.
Yeah.
I would just grab them and just read them and stuff. And so, yeah, I was a big fan of that stuff. And then there was Pacific Comics, and they were more kind of adult. And then the Epic line, the Marvel stuff. So I was kind of buying those things. And that's what kept me into reading comic books, is, the more, I guess, action, like adult stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
Even though, I don't know, I guess as a kid you could read that Savage Sword stuff, right?
Well, I read that as a as a young boy. I was not old enough to read it, I suppose, but comics were on the newsstand and you just went and got them. I loved my comics. I left after college. I left my home after college, and I did a lot of traveling and backwards and forwards. And bless her, my mum just threw my comics in a skip. That's the skip is the equivalent of a fire, what you would have where your bins were. So she just threw them all away. And
oh my
I
gosh,
was I was absolutely distraught when I found out. But it was just one of those things. They were downsized and off they went. I went off to have my life, and I lost a whole collection of Captain Britain, a whole bunch of Savage Sword as Conan, a whole bunch of Spider-Man, 2000 AD, a whole bunch of stuff that I lost, which I was gutted about. But I've been on a bit of a journey, and eBay is fantastic.
I was going to ask you,
and,
are you buying them now? Are you shopping? Yeah.
It was a particular one I wanted because I remembered reading it. I think it was my first ever Savage Sword of Conan magazine, and it was I've got it here because I bought it again. It was the I can't remember the name. Something about the Iron. I think it's something to do with the Iron Moon. Iron Moon. Yeah, I can never remember the name of but it was done by Buscema and Alcala, and it was just absolutely stunning. And I remember sitting there being completely engrossed in it. And then I remember buying another one which had the Lair of the White Worm in it. And that would have been later on, because that was issue 16. Because they were importing books back then. A lot of books that I bought were actually American books, even though Marvel UK was big. They were importing comics from the US, so you used to get proper the real
I
thing,
remember,
print.
was it the Eagle Comics? It was like, it was the British, like was it 2000 AD?
2000 AD was fantastic.
And those books, so we kind of got the same thing in the early days. I mean, we're probably talking about the 70s, right? Like
late
early
70s.
mid 70s.
Yeah.
maybe late. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a bunch of those things too. I don't have them anymore
No.
because I was downsizing between apartments. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I eventually, all I had was a mattress. I didn't even have a bed frame anymore. I just would set the mattress, like just single, mattress, and I had like a small chest of drawers and a drawing board.
Yeah.
That was it. That's
That
that's
drawing
all
board.
I
Yeah.
had, and I
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
move from apartment to apartment with those things,
Yeah.
because I could fit everything pretty much in my car. I could tie down like the mattress on the top of the car and go from apartment to apartment.
Yeah.
So the good old days of not
I
having
wish.
any
Yeah.
stability.
Yeah. I wish I still had my old drawing board. I had a big drawing board. It was a big old wooden one on a stand. I loved it. But in the end, I got a job in design when I was in 90. I got myself an art director position, and I used to do layouts for brochures and retail and stuff. So I got myself a brand new board, with all the supports on everything. It was spectacular, beautiful board it was, and I gave the other one away to a family member, and I just wish I'd kept it. But I
I
didn't
have
know I
this
was going to be able to do this for a
right.
living at the end. So
Exactly. I have pictures of my first drawing board, and I was so proud that I was able to afford a drawing board,
mm,
right? It made you feel like you were a real artist when you were able to like commit money to something and stop drawing on the
the
coffee
table,
table or
yeah,
yeah, or whatever, right? And so I still remember it was $70. It seemed like so much money at the
wow,
time. And I bought it, and I had one of those huge wooden boards like you're talking about too. I mean, weighed a ton. It was 1, 2, 3, 4. It might have been the stand might have been 4 pieces, and then the massive tabletop. So you could take it apart. So it was made that you could take it apart.
wow,
Thank
cool.
goodness, or I probably would have had to give it up sooner.
Yeah,
But after a while, you take things apart, put them back together, take things apart, put them back together. They kind of don't fit as well anymore. So it becomes kind of wobbly and stuff. And so of all things, Russ, I don't know if you guys have these. They're just cheap kind of linoleum top drawing boards. You can get them they have things called what was it? It's like Aaron Brothers. Like there was like in the States here we have like it's just kind of an arts and crafts place.
yeah,
So it's just kind of a cheap arts and crafts
yeah.
drawing board. And I actually got rid of that wooden board for one of those cheap ass Aaron Brothers
Yeah, the
boards.
little,
And
yeah,
I'm like you, I really regret it because I probably wouldn't use it because it was rickety. But the thing is, it has so many great memories. Like I could look over at it and go, wow, I drew this on this. I did this,
yeah,
all that
yeah.
Adventures of Superman stuff was drawn or inked on that
Wow.
board, all that kind of stuff. So it has a little bit of nostalgia, but it's in a dump site somewhere now.
Well, I was also when I first started in comics. So in about 95, I submitted to Marvel back when you could do it via the post. Back when they had a
Right, the
submission process.
subscriptions. Yeah.
Yeah. So and there was a guy called Louis Lewandowski. And John Louis Lewandowski, I think it was, and he came back to me and said, "Yeah, your work's great. We love you." And I had a few backwards and forwards with him. He said he'd put my work round to the editors, and I kind of never got any work, or I didn't get work quickly enough for me to actually merit giving it my time.
Right.
It was difficult. And I had a family on the way and what have you. So I got on with being an art director and went into design and a whole bunch of other stuff. So in 2010, when I'd had a business doing in travel, where I was handling data for big travel companies, and that business came to a natural end in around 2009, and I did a few projects, and then I thought, no, do you know what? I'm going to give this a go because I've always loved drawing. I've always wanted to do it. So I started in 2010 and managed to get a couple of gigs. By the time 2015 rolled around, I got a gig on Doctor Who. So I did okay. I kind of got into it. But I was doing a lot of digital work, and I learned where I was going because I was so comfortable with digital, because I'd been using so many computers up to that point in my design and all the
Right.
rest of it. And then I did Only Death Can Save Us, and I wanted to do some original art for the campaign, which I did, and found myself completely falling in love with inking in the real world. Up until that point, I'd been scared shitless of it. I was just like, oh my God, I can't stand, picking up a brush or a pen or whatever. And now I'm completely in love with it and won't do it any other way. So just a few years ago, I got myself a proper
Can I
board.
interject for a minute?
Go on.
Yeah, like for me, I try to sum it up because it took me a long time to try to kind of figure out what inking is.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's not penciling and it's not writing. And so I'm so stupid. It took me forever to figure this out because I was like, why is drawing not as easy to me as inking? And like writing and drawing are processes. It's putting something down, changing it, putting something
Mm.
down, changing it. So it's trying new things, erasing, trying new things. Inking is not a process. Inking is a performance. So it's kind of like if you think about you're on stage, right? And you're a singer or you're a musician, right? And you're in front of a crowd. Whatever that performance is for that night, that's what it's going to be. So
Yeah.
with inking, you can correct to a certain point, but it for me, I never relied on it because it never came out good. So if I had to put whiteout down over a mistake and then ink over that whiteout, to me that line was never as good as on the actual board itself, right?
Yeah.
So I eventually I got rid of it. Like you see very little like correction fluid on any of my boards now because I just conditioned myself to be in that moment and to get that line that I needed. And so you didn't make mistakes, right? Like after a while, you don't make mistakes. You just go out there, the song or whatever it is, and you perform it because it is a performance. So whatever you put down, that line is going to be printed, right? Like whatever that is. And so I think when you realize that, also you realize why most inkers are freaking batty crazy, right? Because like when you're inking, you have to be in that moment, right? Because those tools will get away from you. Like if you're using a brush or a pen, like those tools, what I mean by getting away from you is kind of like if you're not really focused on it, like a brush, there's no resistance to it. So you can easily go down all the way to the end. You can just push that thing all the way to the end and not even really know it because you can't feel it. So you kind of really have to be on it and monitor it. So it's a lot of eye hand. So you're really looking at that tip of the brush and you're looking how it's the effect of it is like the thin, the thickness, all that stuff. So you're really in that moment. And, after you put in 10, 12 hours a day, you're just a nut. Yeah. You're pretty much just, you're ready for the straitjacket. And because it's different, like penciling can be frustrating because you can't get the line, you can't get the look, you can't get the expression or whatever. So you erase, you redraw, you erase, you draw. So that comes with its own stuff. But I think when you're drawing, your brain is on so many different things that you don't really have time to get that kind of tunnel vision focus crazy, like you do when you ink. And I remember a few editors told me, Russ, they said, inkers are a lot more fun to hang out at conventions and stuff. Because they're fun guys. They said pencilers and writers are really a little bit, uptight, and I think it's just because of that, just like kind of that loony bin every day that you're in when you're inking a book. Yeah. But I just wanted to interject. I thought
that's absolutely you're bang on there. It's almost like you're a different person when you've penciled all the stuff and it's done, and then you get all the boards out and ink them. And it's a completely different experience. And you have to do it in order to know it. So
it is one of those things. And also, like, one of the first things that I ran a studio, Hack Shack Studios, all the young guys, the new guys who go, man, my hand is cramped, my hand hurts, all that stuff. Because like when you have a pencil, your hand isn't as kind of locked into a shape or into a grip.
Well, you don't have to be as steady.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to monitor yourself to that extent. So it kind of affects your hand. And I remember Danny Mickey going, I got carpal tunnel. This is like after his second year. I like, you don't have carpal tunnel, you big baby. But let's get back to the campaign. Let's get back to you. So we got the Shadow Kingdom. This is the Cole Adventure. This is the first story that has gone public domain. Let me share the campaign if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and then we'll get back in and we'll talk artist stuff. We'll get inside baseball because I love that kind of conversation. So this, you guys should be seeing this now. This is the Shadow Kingdom graphic novel adaptation of Robert E. Howard's book. And so you're working with a writer and a publishing company on this one, right?
Yeah, I'm working with Randy Zimmerman. He's been in the industry in one form or another for 40 years. He's a creator as well. He's not just an editor. He's a writer. I think he's an artist as well. He's done his own stuff. He does more comedy stuff. And he's been involved in underground. Arrow Comics have been around for a long time in one form or another as well. And he's at the head of that now. We're hoping to serialize Only Death Can Save Us through them as well, because they're talking to Diamond at the moment, and there's a whole bunch of other comics that are available, other titles that are available.
Is that a book that you're doing with him, or is that a creator own that you came up with?
Only Death Can Save Us is my book.
Okay.
I'm just want to get it out wherever I can get it out. I'm going to be doing a compendium of the book at some point. I'll be doing a black and white artisan version of the inked original traditional ink pages as well. So we'll see where that goes. But there's lots of options for that. It's also, you can also pick up the first two books. I still have a few left, but to get them, get the re-edited version, you get them from New Haven, who have an imprint called Viking Comics, and they're on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'm working with those guys. Yeah. And Randy is a big Robert E. Howard fan, just like I am. We got together, we had a chat. In fact, it came up completely by accident. And I've always wanted to do something like this. I'm big into adventure. And so he said, yeah, well, there's 3 stories that are public domain now, and Cull, like Conan, is public domain. It's just that the other stories that are printed within a particular time period aren't. And I said, well, let's do it then. And so this is the result.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. So I was going to ask, it's got to be a bigger book. So it's 110 pages, because adapting one of those novels cannot be easy.
No, it's not. No.
What is it? What is 69 pages of beautifully illustrated strip?
Right.
So is that the main story, and then there's extras that will pad out the 110?
Yeah, there's 70 pages of strip, but you also get the original prose story by Robert E. Howard in his own words, and we've presented that with illustrations as well. And then there's some extra illustration stuff in the back.
Oh, sweet!
So it's a labor of love. That's what it is. An adoration of Robert E. Howard's work. And as I mentioned to you earlier off camera, what we really want to do is much like the Sumerian books over by the publisher Ablaze, who took the Conan character. You can't put the name Conan on the front of the book, but you can make new stories with Conan as the character, because he is actually in public domain. And we want to do the same thing with Cull. Cull is in public domain. The first 3 stories that were published are public domain, but there's story that we can fill in. There's stuff that we can do with those characters, and at the same time respect what Robert E. Howard was doing with those characters. So once this book is over, we're hoping that we can do some kind of buddy road journey with Cull and his mate Brawl, and get into some real sword and sorcery stuff. Have some, tits and dragons, as it were. And really enjoy ourselves. Have some great, adventure stuff. So
that sounds fantastic. And this is all your artwork. So this is Russ's work here. First 50 backers. So has that passed yet?
Yeah, it has. We're on 61.
Yeah, 61
yeah.
backers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of not a concern. Oh, okay. So here's the rundown here of it. Marvel did some Cull adventures too, didn't they?
I think that Cull was actually in a comic form, was published before Conan was.
Before Conan, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
And that was that the magazine size stuff, or was that was just the floppies, right?
I think it was just floppies. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. Wow.
So what we've done is, what we wanted to do, we were considering a black and white version, which will happen in hardback. But we wanted to get something that would be more universal. So we went for a kind of like the old Savage Sword of Conan floppies, with like a limited palette and muted colors and what have you. And we thought we'd go for that kind of Bronze Age look. So that's what we went for. Moving forward, I think we're probably going to do black and whites. So
I would love to see us in black and white. So this is all traditional, right? The way you're working.
Yeah. Well, the colors are Photoshop, but the ink work is traditional work. Yeah.
This is cool stuff, man. I like that Viking dude in the mid ground there. That looks cool.
That's a dream page. So there's like 4 or 5 pages in the middle where I do this sort of amalgam kind of poster pinup kind of look, and it's where Cull is being enlightened about the past from Brawl, when they're talking about the
So this is Cull as an older guy, or is this just another character?
No, that's a human up against the ancient evils and beasts of the netherworlds. So you can see that in the script. If the script comes over the top, you'll realize what's going on there. So, like I say, there's several pages of this kind of flashback going on.
But wasn't the difference always, at least the Marvel stuff, between Cull and Conan, was like Cull had that like Viking helmet kind of thing?
Yeah, we wouldn't want to draw anything like Marvel did, because that might infer copyright. We had to make sure that we went back to the source material and did what we could do with that.
So your version, he kind of had this kind of.
He's got like a little slit headband, which is the crown for the current kingship, as it were.
Got it. Oh, look at this. So how are you inking this? This looks brush.
Yeah, I'm using Pentel brush pens. They give. I've tried brushes, and the pen. I think the Pentel pens they're pretty close to a brush, and you don't have to dip. So
you don't have to waste your time dipping in the inkwell. Yeah.
So, and it's not as messy. So I tend to use those, but I use pretty much anything that works. There's felt tip pen on there as well. There's all kinds of stuff on there.
How do you like drawing horses? Horses are
yeah, they're hard.
Yeah.
But on the plus side, there's loads of reference. That's the difference between now and 30 years ago, is you don't have to go to the library for your reference.
That's true.
Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever. There's so many images that you can see and get good reference for. There's no excuse not to, really.
Ooh, the slaughter page. This is awesome.
Once we nip through, I'll show you the black and whites. Yeah.
These are lizards. You said that they can kind of transform, right? They're
shapeshifters. They shapeshifters, yeah. But this is again, it's one of these flashback pages which is talking about their ancestors and how they beat the lizard people while they didn't cover their faces. There was out and out war, but they managed to come back and kind of fool everybody that they'd gone, but they ended up taking over the world.
Right. Oh, look at that. So this is the guy that he goes on the adventures with?
Yeah, that's Brawl. And the other guy you just see there in the flashback there, that's Kanu, who is part of the Pict Empire. He's like an ambassador to the kingdom.
Okay. Yeah, I remember of all things, like my first gig at DC Comics was drawing the Warlord, and that was the Mike
yeah.
Grill book. And the Warlord had a like partner guy, like what do they call it? Like sidekick, I guess.
Sidekick, yeah.
And it looked like this guy, with the one like a bald black dude with one earring. But the thing is, in the Mike Grill Warlord, he got his hand cut off.
Oh,
and
wow.
so he had like a mace put on his hand. So when he punches you, you're going down. I thought that was kind of a cool
Built-in
for a
knuckle
warrior.
duster. Yeah.
Yeah, big old mace ball right on the end of your wrist there. Oh, this is cool. Yeah, I'm getting some flashbacks of my my early comic book buying, or my my adult buying comics and breaking into the business years.
It's definitely, I mean, the stuff that I do always has some kind of Bronze Age twist to it, because that's the stuff I love. So I just draw what I love. So, it comes out. I can't do it any other way.
I remember I had to draw a dungeon. Kind of, this is I'm getting flashbacks from this one page here, and I drew one of those staircases that kind of go around a turret. They're like a spiral, and I had wished I never had. And I remember doing all kinds of research trying to figure out how to draw the damn thing. I think I pulled it off pretty well, but I remember drawing all these like cinder blocks like this that you got here. And how much fun that was. And then like the single light source, which is usually like a torch, on the wall and all that good stuff. Yeah. Oh, look at this.
I can show you some black and whites once we've gone through. So.
Oh, sweet. So the full package, our commitment to you.
Yeah, we've got an intro from, or forward, I should say, from Razor Fist. He's like a commentator. He's like a political entertainment commentator, but he loves Robert E. Howard. And he's a pulp writer himself. So I suggested, I asked him if he would. Don't ask, don't get. And he said he'd love to. So that's great. That's at the start of the book. I say there's the whole prose. I think it's about 25 pages of the original prose story that we've presented in there with illustrations, and then I've got some extra illustration stuff at the back as well.
Sweet. Let me see if I can play this video. Let me know if you can't hear the audio.
Yeah.
In the time before Atlantis sank and the lands of the world were savage and untamed, one man would claim his destiny. Leaving his Atlantean tribe behind and throwing off the shackles of Lemurian bondage, he sailed the seas as a pirate captain before seizing his place as a king. And now that he has the throne, how long will he be able to keep it? This is the Shadow Kingdom, the classic sword and sorcery tale by Robert E. Howard, adapted by Randy Zimmerman, with artwork by Russ Leach. Available now at fundmycomic.com.
Oh man, that was good stuff.
Short and sweet, to the point. Yeah.
I was going to say it was over too soon. I was just getting warmed up. Yeah, this book looks great. You guys, this is Arrow Comics. They've been around for a long time, so you know that they deliver. Also, once this book is funded, they are going to, they have some distribution channels, and they're going to be bringing this into comic shops. So this thing is not going to go away. Randy and Russ have plans for this thing for a while now, so at least 3 novels worth. So and Russ delivers. He gets things done, not just great, not just does it look fantastic, but he gets it done on time. So you guys are in for a treat here. The link is in the description, so click that link and back one of these bad boys today. So let me come back. I always feel like I'm abandoning my guest. So yeah, and we'll go back. We'll kind of cover some stuff. So you said you have oh, there they are.
There you go.
I was just gonna ask. Oh, look at this.
So there's the black and whites for it.
You know what? The colors are nice, but this is what I like.
Yeah, this is what I like as well. Yeah, but I put up a little poll just to see, and I think it was running around 70 to 20, where I said, would people be prepared to buy black and white books as against no, just color? And I got a good sort of 70% response of, yeah, I'd buy a black and white book. So I think I want to do more black and white. I think I might do some with some shading as well.
Like like some kind of ink wash or
ink wash. Yeah, ink wash.
Yeah.
I go to.
Oh wait, ooh.
There you go.
Man, you're getting illustrative on some of this stuff.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this. So we get to the. There you go. This is like the nighttime section.
Yeah.
Pages there, drawing the horses as well, and going out into the street. Thoroughly enjoyed doing that. If I quickly zip up.
Yeah, creating the towns and all that.
There you go. That's the bit where they go off into the dungeons. So
I love that stuff.
And then you've got these pages. There you go. There's the Viking fella.
Man, so, I hate to say it, but you definitely need to put this out in black and white.
Oh, I want to do a black and white hardback. So obviously they're a little bit more expensive, and for people, I think if you're an aficionado, as it were, and you really enjoy the black and white stuff, then you quite like the presentation and having a nice hardback book, a bit more of a coffee table book. So
right.
So there you go.
Fantastic.
So yeah, all traditional. So.
And for the most part, it's done, right? All the artwork is
it's all done. It's completely done. It's lettered. It's colored. It's lettered. It's in file format now. I'm waiting on Razorfist's forward, and I think Randy wants to put an article in the back, and I'm doing a few more illustrations for it. But the campaign doesn't end until the middle of April, so we've got time to do those extra things. But the body of the book is done. So
are you already? Your sights are on the next story. Is that what you're doing now?
Yeah, definitely. I'd like Randy to get on and kind of craft that story where Brawl and Cole go out into the lands. Basically, they're on a road trip looking for the rest of the lizard people. That's what we want to do. But in the process of doing that, you're going to bump up against sexy witches and dragons and werewolves and all kinds of stuff, and have fun on the way. And we'd also like maybe some guests on some of the stories as well. So we're looking at, my original idea was to do a 48-page black and white strip quarterly. That was what I'd really like to do. And if we were to be able to manage to do that, then it would be nice to have the occasional guest writer in as well. I talked to Charles Santini quite a lot. He used to do some Conan stuff. It would be quite nice if he could take a crack at one point. Randy's got to start the ball rolling, get it moving, and then that would be quite a cool thing. In this year, directly after this, I do have some. Funny that somebody said, "Where's the monkey?" Because I have a monkey here, and I am an art monkey, so I'm a hired gun. I'll do what I'm asked to do. So I've got some other bits and pieces that I've got to do for people. And I've also got Only Death Can Save Us book 3 to do. So once that's done, then I get back into this And I have to say, I can't wait to get back into it because I'm just enjoying the whole sword and sorcery stuff. It's just so much fun to draw.
The thing is, who else is doing this right now? Is anybody? Was Dynamite doing some of the Conan stuff? But that was years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's this Savage Sword of Conan. Titan have just brought it out. They're doing
Okay.
like a bi-monthly black and white. I think is it Patch Searcher is on Solomon Kane.
Okay.
And there's of course Titan who are running a monthly Conan book. And the reason that these two got green lit was because of what Ablaze did in Europe when they effectively did the Sumerian. So there's a couple of is it Jimmy Ray's has got a independent book that's Sword and Sorcery.
Yeah, but it's not Robert E. Howard.
No, it's
Yeah.
nothing like that. So it's there are bits and pieces out there, and yeah, I think it's about presentation as well. I like to think Dragon Rage. That's it. Really great presentation there.
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking like you guys are well ahead of the curve. That's where I was going with that. With the stuff going into public domain. Hopefully, not too many other people are listening to this. Nah, I'm just kidding. I hope everybody's listening to this, but I mean, like as as getting the good ideas, planting the seeds for good ideas. So you guys let Russ and Randy do their thing and and let them ride with the Cole stories. But yeah, so that at least 3 are public domain right now. So that's you and Randy's plans to do at least 2 more.
Yeah, I mean those we probably won't do those stories. We might put them in as prose, but we want to create our own dialogue now.
Oh, so that's where you're going at.
Yeah, we're pushing after this one. We're pushing on into the road trip.
Okay. Well, when you said road trip, I was just thinking that was the next novel that you were adapting.
Oh no. What I meant was,
okay.
It's a new direction. We're effectively taking Cull and Brawl, taking them on the road, putting them in disguise because obviously you can't know that it's the king. He's going to go out there looking for all the lizards, and on the way he's going to have a great laugh. Like there's going to be lots of swords and tits and dragons and witches and mystery.
I was trying to think as you're talking about like the travel. I was trying to go back. It's like there was a Kung Fu, the TV
that kind
show,
of thing. Yeah,
and then there was even like the Hulk TV series with Bill Bixby and that horrible person Lou Ferrigno. If anybody listens to my show, they know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I mean, because he was traveling, so it was like a hitchhiking on the highway, going from one town to the other, getting into some kind of trouble, hulking out, and then the Mandalorian. I think the first season was decent, but they kind of got into that whole like just travel, and with that they could go like the galaxy, you know what I mean? So it was more of an epic kind of story where they could go to different planets and different cultures and stuff like that. But it's the same basic idea, and it's amazing how sound it seems like from a writer or creative person, that hasn't really experienced the Robert E. Howard stuff. You just go, that's just too simple, right? It's not a complicated idea. It's like, no, but it doesn't have to be. It could be anything. Like he can meet anybody. He can monster du jour, femme fatale. Anything can happen from point A to point B. And that's what's the beauty of these stories. As long as the universe has a lot of components to it, as long as this world has a lot of different places for him to go, different experiences, different monsters, different, races, different people, then there's stuff for him to do. And then the thing that I think really works about it is also there's kind of a humanity that's involved with these type of stories that isn't involved with others. So he gets to kind of come into a situation. It could be a domestic situation. It could be a law and order kind of situation. It could be anything, but all these situations are things that people can relate to, on a sometimes in just a pure visceral, like this town needs to be cleaned up. Conan just wants to go there, or Cole or whoever wants to just go there for a night just to sleep because he's tired, right? But then he finds out there's this warring faction that keeps coming into the town and making it hard, because this is how Conan is, making it hard for him to sleep. So then he's like, I just need to sleep. So then he goes, he cleans up the town, right? And then he gets a good night's sleep.
Well, the other angle is that Cull is the king, but he's undercover. So you've got undercover boss.
Yeah, exactly. You can't let people know.
Yeah. So many things that you can do. You're right. There's so many angles that you can take.
Yeah, and I think they're all in many ways more relatable than a lot of superhero stuff. That's why, like, I like the superhero stuff that gets galactic and cosmic. I like that stuff too. Yeah. But I kind of like the street level characters more because there is that humanity to them.
Yeah.
That you can get into, and these kind of stories, like the well-traveled heroes, even they did that, like Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams with Green Lantern, Green Arrow, this buddy cop kind of idea, and they travel, the United States, and they get into different kind of situations, and relate to people, and the idea there is also for Hal Jordan to kind of see what the people are, because he's been so far up everybody else's butt, in the whole universe, that he forgot what, like Earth, the problems that we were having here.
Real people.
So some really good stuff, man. So I think you guys will be tapping into some really cool, relatable stuff. Like I said, like The Mandalorian, that first season was really strong. I don't know how you mess up those ideas, because they're just, you know what I mean? Like, it is kind of just a straightforward story. And it's all about, like, finding, it's kind of Wizard of Oz-ish, where you find another guy to come along with you, and before you know it, you almost have like a small army of people, that are loyal to whatever the hell it is, like whether it's, slaughtering the lizard people, or, whatever, whatever the story is. So just good stuff. And so what else do you have going on with the campaign? I mean, you're looking at Fund My Comics. Why were you going with Fund My Comic, like, versus like maybe Indiegogo or Kickstarter?
It was really a point of I wanted to do the right thing. I think Fund My Comic is a fantastic platform. I think the guy that invented it, Luke Stone, like, we're all complaining. We all complained, about what's going on in mainstream media, what's going on in entertainment. We complained about the gatekeeping at Kickstarter. There's even some gatekeeping going on at Indiegogo. There's other crowdfunding platforms, and you've got to kind of get past the right people to get onto them, like Zoop, and that kind of thing. And Fund My Comic isn't like that. There are no gatekeepers there. It's just, if it's legal, you can go there. You have a voice. You can do what you want. And I felt it was the right thing to support it. And I haven't got a massive name in comics. I'm quite anonymous to a large degree. But the people that do like my work and that have received my work have been very pleased with it and trust me. And I wanted to put that trust. I'm with other trustworthy people like Art. I wanted to do that. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to go to Kickstarter and I'm not going to go to Indiegogo afterwards. You've got to make money. You've got to get your project out there. But I wanted to start there with Fund My Comic, because I felt it required support, and I'd really like to be, have some success there on Fund My Comic. Like I say, a lot of us were complaining for a long time. There were people, saying the entertainment industry, the comic industry isn't what it was. Luke went out there and did something positive. He doesn't just make comics, which he does really well, but he made a platform for other people to use. I can't think of anything more positive than that. He gave something. He really did give something back to, I don't like this word, the community, but he did give something back to the industry that spawned it. And it's a place where people can go and put their books and not have anybody say, I don't like you because you say something different to me, so your book must not be allowed to be on a platform, which happens, and it doesn't happen at Fund My Comic. So that's
Right.
why I wanted to support it.
Yeah, I'm all about that. I keep talking to my partner Pamela is also my wife about doing a campaign with Fund My Comic, and I think what we're going to do is we have 8 pages that has seen very little exposure. It's an 8-page black and white story,
Wow.
and do it in black and white, 8 pages,
Cool. Yeah.
and as an ash can with a new cover, and just do like an ash can campaign and just see what it does. Just, for me, it's like dipping my toe in the water. And so if it's a good experience and it does well and people seem to like it, then, we'll do more. Because what I'd like to do is I'm thinking of like doing a Hack Shack Studios kind of yard sale. Like in the States here, like I get it's still legal. I think you can still do it, where you can just kind of open your garage and just put a bunch of crap out on your driveway and have people drive by and buy your shit, So I'm thinking of doing something like that, like, because I think with Hack Shack, it's a shack. We could do something like a yard sale kind of situation. And so I think it'd be fun also just to see the various things that I've created with my wife and put them in one campaign. You see Chrono Mechanics, you see black and white, you see trading cards, you see posters, you see t-shirts, you see all these different things like in one kind of eclectic, strange kind of campaign. And I was thinking that might be the perfect place to bring it, would be like, Fund My Comic. It's just kind of this fun, silly kind of campaign, see if the idea works. And also it's just kind of like some of our books are close to being sold out. So I can't really run a full campaign based on, I don't know, like 400 comics or 300 comics kind of thing. But I could, in this type of, idea, kind of a yard sale idea. So I'm definitely thinking about Fund My Comics a lot more, these days. And if my plans work out for this year, we should be doing something with them. So I applaud Fund My Comics, the people behind that, and for people like you that are, bringing. I mean, these are labors of love. These books that we're doing. So when we go with the platform where we do these things, there's a lot of thought that goes into it. Trust me, like Russ and Randy weren't just going, well, we could go this sure bet, or we could go that. But you know what? Let's support something. If this is what this is really about, right? Put your money where your mouth is, then let's support this this platform. And I think it's really noteworthy. And hopefully all you guys that are listening right now know what we're talking about. It's Fund My Comic. Comics. There are a bunch of different titles on this platform already. And just go through them. There's a bunch of fantastic
there is some
IP,
great stuff
different
on
stories.
there.
And some like just like for me, there's a lot of fresh talent out there, and some of it's like amazing. So there's all these diamonds in the roughs just waiting, to get supported and create, so they can create more. That's always the thing. Like what we do is it kind of hopefully takes care of the here and now, which is pay for our overhead, keep the lights on in the studio, all that other good stuff. But also encourage us, like, I don't know, just encourages us to do another project, that we know that there's going to be like an infrastructure that will support it, and a crowd that will like it enough to put down some money for it. And that's a lot, man.
Yeah, that's hard. I mean, you've got to be realistic about it. Obviously, I can imagine us bringing the Shadow Kingdom to Indiegogo and to Kickstarter. Also, the thing you've got to do is be secure as far as the book that we bring to crowdfunding, where people support us. must not be exactly the same book that goes out to the shops.
Right.
The people that support you, come first. They're early adopters. They need to be given something that's unique. So you can't have everything go into the book that goes out to the shops. Whether it's a different cover, whether it's some extra illustrations, whether it's some bits and pieces. So I'm not just talking about extra stuff. I'm talking about the actual book itself. So, for instance, my book, Only Death Can Save Us, book 1 and 2, are out on Amazon. They are a different edit from the original books that I put into the crowdfunders. So if you've bought the book via the crowdfunder, for instance, in the first, there was only 400 of those ever printed, and there won't ever be any more of those printed ever again. And I think it's important to give people who crowdfund, who help and are early adopters, give them something unique. That said, you also want to make sure that you get your stories out there and that you make money out of them, okay? Because that's part of the job, it's part of the process. So to get it out onto different crowdfunding platforms is just one thing. After that, if you can get it out to publishers and get it out to a larger audience, that's even better. So we've also been approached for the Shadow Kingdom by a Brazilian publisher who want to translate what we've done and publish it in Brazil, effectively in Portuguese. So we're always going to be open to seeing the stories that we do and the productions. It's not just about the story, because obviously it's Robert E. Howard's story. We've adapted it. It's the artwork as well. It's the whole presentation. I want to see my work get in as many people's hands as possible. Of course I do.
Well, it's a world market right now. Yeah. I mean, it's a world market with the internet and the way we're able to communicate. It's a world market. So adapting into different languages. I remember Image Comics in the mid 90s they were talking about it, and there are various different language versions of Black and White, the 3-issue miniseries. I think one of them is Brazil. Cool. So Portuguese is they're big on comics and stuff like that. So it's great to get into that world market in a bigger way. It just is. I mean, why not take advantage of it? I mean, that's the best thing about this. I mean, we're fulfilling Black and White right now, and to get all these, it's expensive, and I applaud anybody that's able to spend the extra money for the shipping. But all over the world, man, we're getting orders from all over the place, and that makes me feel good, because we're not just hitting this demographics, we're hitting the world demographics, and that's fantastic. I want to read this. I read this earlier. I hope we can kind of still tie it in. Protagonists motivated by self-interest as opposed to righteous altruism is a key component of the sword and sorcery genre, and one of the primary differences between it and fantasy genre. Yes, indeed. Indeed. Yeah. So people are going, hey, Aunt Pam. Yeah, she's at the post office right now, mailing off a bunch of your books. So here it is. So in the link, you guys click this link, go right to Fund My Comics. If you like what you see, back this thing, get some numbers in there, and help these guys not just get past the next couple months that they need to keep the lights on in their studio, but also encourage them to do the next book. I mean, that's the big thing is you don't want to. I've done a couple of these, Russ, in the early days, and sometimes, man, it's almost debilitating, right? Because you're like, come on, we got to do this, because it's the money is one thing, but also it's kind of somewhat admitting defeat, like you start doubting maybe your own talents, or like the IP or the story or stuff like that.
Constantly.
And that's just that's the worst place to be. It's the worst place to be. And so I've had a few of those campaigns on Kickstarter early on. But the thing is, man, we're building right now. Comicsgate, we're building all of this stuff. Fund My Comic. So I feel reborn. Like every day there's something new. There's new people we can attract to this. This crowdfund, this independent market that we're creating. And this is unlike anything I've ever been part of in 40 years. How long have I still want to hear a little bit more about you. How long have you been drawing comics? You said 2010?
I obviously I loved comics since I was a child, drawn bits, did the submission in 1995, carried on with a career. 2010, I decided, no, I'm going to give it a go, because it's just something I'd loved. And like I say, I had a business that came to a natural end in 2008. I was doing some other programming projects. The other thing with programming is you just can't keep up. I'm getting old now. I can't remember how to code.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't want to carry on doing that. And the thing about it's hard to explain. It's like the thing about drawing is you're constantly learning and you're constantly building on your skills, but they come from within. It's like being a fantastic footballer, soccer player, or an amazing sportsman of some kind. It's like sportswoman even of some kind. Not everybody's built to do the same things. They're just not. And
right.
Kicking a ball around a soccer pitch, for instance, I can't do it. I'm not very good at it. I don't think I would ever be very good at it. I'm just not built that way. But I can draw, and it comes from within, and it's something that you can build on with additional skills and with learning techniques. But it comes from within, and it's just something I always wanted to do. So I thought, right, well, I've got to do it. I've got to give it a go, and I started in 2010, and in 2012, my wife and I decided to sell up. So we sold the big house and we bought a smaller house, and we moved further out into the sticks, and I got rid of my mortgage effectively so that I could take risks with work. And in those early years before 2015, where I finally got some professional gigs, I was doing independent stuff with people like JD Rosario over at Unstoppable Comics. He does brilliant comics. He was doing diversity before Marvel thought it was a trendy thing to do, and some other bits and pieces here and there. And I was like teaching karate. I was teaching art. I was doing anything I could do for money at the time, as well as drawing. And then eventually in 2015, I got a gig drawing Doctor Who for 2.5 years. So I got a professional gig, and that was like, yeah, in my naivety, I thought, this is it. I've done it. I'm in. And it's like, no, that's not the way it works at all.
I've seen some of those. If you guys don't follow Russ on X, do so. He posts pages all the time, and I think those Doctor Who's. I think it's some of your best work.
I enjoyed it. So
it's cool because the likenesses are there, but they're still in your style. Like, I like people that can do likenesses, but it's still in their style, the way they draw.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't look off the wall. It doesn't look weird. Like all of a sudden it's like photo refed or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's
traced.
And it's and it's always consistent. It's always consistent. And you know what? I always hate when people, oh, you're consistent. But your work is consistent, and that's not easy to do. To draw something the same way each and every time, or to have a style that you set the foundation for, and then you stay within those parameters. It's really hard to do, especially for somebody like me. I work in so many different styles, sometimes it feels like I just want to go off, like just be free, like set off the leash and just fucking go nuts, for like 2 panels or something like that. So, but you can't. You have to be disciplined, and you have to go. It's always this. Like I used to think, I used to use this analogy, like if you draw the character different or too different in one panel or the other, it's like having an actor stand in for another actor, like if you're watching a movie or something like that, how glaring would that be if you saw that? So that's always the encouragement I use to say, this is about entertaining somebody for 22 pages. So it has to be consistent within that 22 pages, or at least as consistent as I can make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So Yeah, no, I enjoyed that, and that actually led on to me getting a job producing Ben 10. At the same time, I was concurrently working with Marvel doing an art book for UK and Europe, which was Draw the Marvel Way, which is obviously a twist on How to Draw the Marvel Way by Buscema and Stan Lee, which we could never go anywhere near touching, but it was still good. And that was a bi-weekly magazine, and I did 2 sort of lessons in it, like tutorials, and another editorial piece. And Mike Collins, who has drawn for DC and Marvel and did a lot of Doctor Who stuff, he did 1 tutorial as well. So I did that for 4 years. Again, it was like every other week I was doing something for that. Then I got a gig doing came back and did Doctor Who magazine for a year, and also I did a Batman thing for Europe for a year as well. That was every
So
other
how
month.
does the Europe stuff work? Are these licensed? Like, are they
Yeah,
licensing these
licensed.
characters or these
Yeah,
names and stuff?
effectively,
Okay.
Batman was licensed by Panini. They were doing all the reprints of Batman, and they wanted to do a kids magazine with Batman in, and they did. And I did 6 issues of it, and then Universal. I can't remember the full title, but there's the part of Universal is like an IP licensing company, and they just cut the license. They just cut the license for Batman to Panini, and they just shut the magazine. They shut my apps part of the magazine down. So I
Wow.
could well have been still doing Batman by now, but the other thing that it underpinned for me is that when you work for large publishers, they'll cut you off at the knees. It's like if it stops selling, or they decide that they're not going to publish that anymore, or if they change the editor on a book, you're done. So
Yeah.
the best thing to do is to get out there and make your own. So I was toying with that anyway. I'd been in and out. I'd done my own Only Death Can Save Us book. I'd still been involved in other people's books. You know, like I'm a hired hand. I'll draw for other people, and I won't ask them where they're getting the money from. if they want to pay me to draw, I'll draw and then I'll walk away. It's nothing to do with me. But other than that, the thing to do is to make your
Well,
own.
all the Hack Shack checks did not bounce, did they?
No, they definitely did not. Thank you. But yeah, I realized that, like, being part, as great as it was. I mean, I got to draw Batman. I know I didn't draw Batman in the US. I drew Batman in Europe and what have you, but it was official. I got to do something which I wanted to do since I was a kid. So I can't complain about any of the mainstream stuff that I've done. Most of it has been through Panini, who is they're a company in Europe. They took over the Marvel UK license when Marvel UK disbanded. They do a lot of reprint stuff, and they used to do generated material until
I was going to say
Disney bought Marvel. So
okay, because they had like original characters. Didn't the Marvel UK have original characters that were just
they did, yeah,
Marvel UK characters, like that
well,
universe? Yeah,
Death's Head. This is
right.
where Liam Sharp came
Liam
from.
Sharp, yeah.
Death's Head. So Death's Head, they had Captain Britain and a few others. And unfortunately, Marvel UK bit the dust, and Panini took over those licenses, and they were generating like Spider-Man, Avengers, Hulk magazines with new stories. And then Marvel,
Was Excalibur one of those
I don't
titles?
know. I don't know, but it was Alan Davis, wasn't it? So it might have been. But
Yeah, but the thing I'm thinking is, like, I don't think it was, because when I got the Death's Head stuff when I was a kid, it had a different cover on it.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't but I think Excalibur was. But I'm thinking, like, that would be a perfect title for, one of the European, the British books, because it's Excalibur, and I think the first cover has like Big Ben in the background and everything.
That's right. Yeah, the four of them. Yeah. No, but Disney bought Marvel, and after that, they said no generation of new material would be done outside of the US. So even though they were still using freelancers, Panini couldn't make new stories anymore. They could only reprint what they were given, and that was a real dent in what they were doing.
Yes, you. I mean,
No.
we're doing a deep dive, but who was paying for the new talent, the new book, the new stories being generated? Was it
Panini?
Was it Marvel? Right. So why would they care? Why would Marvel even care?
Chopped it off at the knees, and then a whole bunch of artists that were working for Panini just didn't have work anymore.
That's where I don't understand. It's like it's the other company, Marvel's not taking the chance. They're getting their licensing money regardless, right? So they get their licensing money every month, and then Panini is the one taking the risk.
That's
because they're the ones basically paying the overhead to generate the new products, the new books.
Why
the hell would Marvel even care?
Don't be surprised if that doesn't return in the next 10 years.
Well, there's been speculation, a lot of speculation about, Marvel and DC basically going outside of, their publishing and basically licensing out to a publishing house to put out their books. I don't know why it hasn't happened yet. There must be something that I'm overlooking because Marvel has been trying to do this for a long time.
Yeah. There must be resistance within the stopping it happening.
Or some kind of control issues that they just can't control the direction of the books or something. Because if you think about like just to connect, we're going to go on a deep dive. If you connect the dots, like they tried, there's the Heroes Reborn, right? So there was here Image Guys, you try it, right? And then there was the Marvel Knights, Joe Quesada, you try it, right? And Marvel even, I think Marvel did try to do something with Disney with licensing at some point, which never even really happened. I think there's some infrastructure that was built, but other than that, nothing ever happened. And I know there's a few that I'm overlooking as well, where they've tried to basically give an editorial outside of themselves, the power to write their own stories, do all their own thing. But there must just be something that I've never been able to find. The reason it's not working, because they were all pretty successful. Like the Marvel, when Marvel with the Image Guys, the Reborn, that did well. And even like the Marvel Knight stuff did well,
I don't know. I think the problem you've got is that Marvel's grown too big. And it's, got eaten up by Disney. And so it's part of an even bigger thing. It took 30, 40 years ago when Marvel was making comics, apart from, the ancillary stuff, they made the odd lunchbox and what have you. What was most important to them? Comics. And now comics aren't the most important thing to them at all. So it's, there's I could go off on a tirade about all the other things that surround all of that, but I think it boils down to that one thing is that Marvel and DC, they just don't seem to have as much importance placed on the actual comic and the publishing and the selling of it than they used to, for lots of different reasons.
Then it seems like it would make a lot of sense to get rid of the overhead and let somebody else, like Panini or something like that, like accept the responsibility, or the financial responsibility.
Yeah, but if you did that, you'd have to relinquish a lot of the editorial, because no publisher in their right mind is going to take a very expensive license to be told they can't do what they want with it. Because if you do that, then you might as well say, well, I'm not taking the license, because if you're not selling them particularly well, so if you don't allow me to do it the way I want to do it, I'm not going to sell it particularly well either.
Right. Because I'll just be mirroring your business model, and your business model isn't working right now. So
and Marvel and DC aren't going to do that. So
right. I guess if it was functioning, if like Marvel was selling, like 1 million copies a month, of like X-Men, then they could dictate terms because it's a successful business model.
But then they wouldn't do that.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Since it's not a successful business model, it's a little harder to dictate somebody that might want to take chances and do stuff a little bit different, thinking that they can generate better sales. Yeah, that's true. I said that from the beginning. The reason I don't think it will work is because who would want to really license this stuff, because to license it without ownership is kind of silly, right? Because if you have Spider-Man but you just have the publishing rights, that's a lot of work.
I'd say Panini's sales numbers, and obviously there's other things involved in sales numbers for comics at the moment. There's the fact that the market isn't particularly good, especially in the UK. But outside of that, Amazing Spider-Man magazine was selling really well, has done for an awful long time. And they saw the sales start to go down after they were told they couldn't generate new stories, original stories. They had to just effectively reprint everything they were given from Marvel and Disney in the States. And they've seen
those Spider-Man fans. Yes, those Spider-Man fans were like, "Well, we already have these stories. Why do we want to buy the same story we already have?"
Well, not just that; they're just not as good.
Okay.
Panini were producing some great stuff, and people really enjoyed it. And they know how to write for their market. The market that effectively American comics have left behind, and that's that boys between 8 and 15. They don't. Nobody knows how to write for them. It's either kids, they're writing for like little tots, or they're writing stuff in X-Men that I wouldn't give to my 12-year-old. So it's like there's nowhere in between. And Panini were doing that really well. And when they were told, no, you can't make original stories anymore, here's what we have, publish it, the numbers started going down. So self-explanatory. If they were selling 1 million every month, they wouldn't get somebody to license the IP. And if they're not selling 1 million every month, but they want to control it, nobody's going to take the IP. So
that's why they're stuck with it. They're stuck with it.
Nobody wants it.
Not even them. Like Disney doesn't even want them anymore. And I remember years ago when I started working at DC, one of the editors said, like DC Comics, like Warner Brothers, their parent company, they're not really concerned with the comic books anyways. No. They're more concerned with just it's an IP farm. So it's the licensing and it's all the stuff. It's all those things is where they really make their money. They don't make the money off the comic books, but they have their finger on the pulse of an IP farm, right? So they can keep generating new ideas and stuff like that relatively inexpensively. So that's why it always made sense for these corporations, these big corporations, to own these things. And also, I imagine, Russ, that these are major tax breaks. These are deductions, right? So they could basically write off DC, like Warner Brothers could write DC off as a loss every year.
They may well be able to make more money out of writing the whole of DC off as a loss than actually selling the intellectual property for license.
Exactly. So, every year it probably makes sense because of the tax deductions that they're able to take with it. Yeah. But let's go over the campaign one more time, and then we'll move on. So let me find this sucker. This thing looks so good. It's Shadow Kingdom, you guys. It's Russ's new book, and it's an adaptation of Kroll, the Kroll story, the Robert E. Howard novels. And Randy Zimmerman is, oh my gosh, he got the monumental task of trying to adapt a novel, a Howard novel, into a comic book, which has got to be a lot of work. And then Russ has to translate that into visuals. So they did a great job. These pages look fantastic. If you are just coming in right now, go back after we're done here and check it out. Russ showed off some actual boards that some pages, not boards, but pages that he's been working on. And they look fantastic. So, let me go back. It's a 110-page story. It is 69 pages it's 110 pages. It's 69 pages of story. And the original prose by Robert E. Howard, which is cool, with a foreword by Razor Fist. Additional, art for the limited edition, and it's going to be perfect balance. So this is going to be a nice presentation for you guys. It's a nice looking book. And it is already done. Russ has said that the book is finished and pretty much it's in hands of production and then into get into printing mode. Am I right there, Russ?
Yeah, we can print as soon as the campaign's finished. We can print. Yeah,
cool. So here's rundown. You guys, the link is in the description. Here is a sample of some of the pages. Absolutely fantastic. Look at this. Nice night scene. Riding into town. Yeah.
It's a nice part of the book there. The city is talking to him effectively through his own imagination. It's quite a good scene. Yeah.
He's profiling the city, and then there's always the shadowy figure that's watching him. What are they doing? Oh, they're going to slaughter a bunch of these lizard people. Is what they're going to do. Lizards hate lizards. Bunch of forked-tongued devils. That's hard to say. Look at this. You captured it right here, man. The physique, everything. It's weird because like Conan, and Cole and all those like Robert E. Howard characters, they don't have like, I guess, like beautifully sculpted bodies. It's more like just brutal. You know what I mean? They're just like big masses of.
They're manly.
Yes. It's big shoulders.
They are very manly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like drawing that stuff. It's fun. That's what this is. It's adventure. It's manly adventure. If you like a bit of manly adventure, get on your Cole.
Yeah. Well, you got to have a brutality to exist in those days, in those made up times. All right, let's play this video again. Boom.
In the time before Atlantis sank and the lands of the world were savage and untamed, one man would claim his destiny. Leaving his Atlantean tribe behind and throwing off the shackles of Lemurian bondage, he sailed the seas as a pirate captain before seizing his place as a king. And now that he has the throne, how long will he be able to keep it? This is the Shadow Kingdom, the classic sword and sorcery tale by Robert E. Howard, adapted by Randy Zimmerman, with artwork by Russ Leach. Available now at fundmycomic.com.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So this is the Fund My Comic, you guys. Like I said, links in the description. Pastmaster and other people have been putting in the links in the chat. So yeah, click on those. Let me see. How many you got 61 backers 61 here?
61 backers, yeah.
Sweet. All right. Oh, come on, you guys. We didn't get one backer. Let's somebody get in there. Back to Shadow Kingdom. This book looks fantastic. And this is an adaptation, but with new stories to be generated very, very soon. So there's going to be new tales based on what Russ and Randy set up in this issue. They're going to go into uncharted territory for the next couple of stories. So you have that to look forward to as well. So Pastmaster says a lot of spitting and crotch grabbing. Yeah. Female crotch maybe, but grabbing your own crotch, that's kind of Michael Jackson territory.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah. It's just before we finish up this, there you go, a piece of artwork. This is the cover. So all the art is available to be bought as well. If you want an original piece of art, comic book art, there you go.
Fantastic. Fan-freaking-tastic. Looks good, my friend. You did a great job here. When you talked to Randy, tell him I said looks fantastic.
I will.
And you guys get on that. Go to Shadow Kingdom, Fund My Comic, give it a backing. And if you guys like sword and sorcery, you like Conan, you like Robert E. Howard adventures, you like Russ Leach,
Tarzan, anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And anybody out there, I know it's tough at the moment. If you can't back the book, if you could share it out, you could just, that would mean so much to us. Thank you in advance.
Yes, definitely. And don't be grabbing your crotches, as Alyssa Jackson.
Don't grab anyone else's.
Don't
get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, please don't. Yeah, don't do that either. We're not giving any advice on crotch grabbing here, other than don't do it. Hey, this has been great, man. Anything else I can do for you, Russ? Let me know.
Thank you.
Get some eyes on this campaign. Russ worked on Black and White Man versus Machine, Volume 2. Did a dynamite job giving me some breakdowns, and it was fun to work off of your breakdowns. Bring some finished artwork to it.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for letting me be part of that. That was really cool.
It's my pleasure.
Thanks for your time today as well. Very, very kind.
No problem. No problem, man. Okay, everybody out there, enjoy your day. Be good to each other, and we'll see you tonight, hopefully on the